Hello, I'm MrTieDye, and today we're going to mix some dye up. I'm going to show you a couple methods from mixing just a little bit of dye in one bottle to mixing a lot of dye. So whatever your case may be, you don't need a whole lot of things for mixing dye. You're going to need, of course, your dye. You're going to need a bottle. Another important thing, as I said with my soda ash video, is one of these dust masks, and you want one that has these filters on here. The little paper ones you put over your mouth, they're just not going to cut it. So you want a good one for mixing dye. And then I have my measuring spoon, and then I have a chart of how I mix my dyes. So most dyes, and let me zoom in on this, most of the dyes that I mix, for an 8-ounce bottle, I'm going to use 2 teaspoons, 16 ounce, 4 teaspoons, 32 ounce, 8. So it just multiplies out as the bottles get bigger. For black dyes, I use twice as much dye. So since this here is a 16-ounce bottle, I'm going to use 4 teaspoons of dye. This here's my lemon yellow. And for a tablespoon, it holds 3 teaspoons of its level. So I usually do a heaping tablespoon. Oh, there we go, a heaping tablespoon, and that gives me my 4 teaspoons. It's just a quick, easy measure here. So we'll widen this back out again, and I'm going to put my mask on so that it protects me from all the fine particles. And then we'll put my dye in, and then we're going to, for the small bottle, we're just going to shake it. So here we go. You're not going to be able to hear me very well once I put this mask on. Okay, so now that I have the dye in there, then for mixing just a little bit, you're just going to shake that bottle, and I'll hold it up to the light and see if I've got any particles left in there that need to be broken up. But this here is if you're mixing just a few colors and you don't have any fancy equipment. I'm showing you, you don't need it. This is how I did it for several years, is mixing them just in the 16-ounce bottles and shaking them. Once you get the dye mixed all the way up, you can't see any more of the particles floating in the bottom. Then you just fill this the rest of the way up with water. And then you're good to start doing some tie-dye. Mix up the rest of your colors and you're good to go. So then, another method I'm going to show you. Let me get set up here and I'll be right back. Okay, so for the second method of mixing dye up, where you're going to mix a lot of dye, or you're going to do it easier, I have these hand mixers. I have one for soda ash and one for dye. You don't want to use the same one because you might cross-contaminate, and that would be bad. So I have various bottles filled up with water. What I'm going to do is add dye to it. Since I'm going with a 32-ounce bottle, I'm going to use 8 teaspoons of dye. And since I'm using similar colors here, I don't have to, or I don't, rinse my measuring spoon in between time, just because there's not really that much contamination. That's just me. If you guys want to rinse it, the only time I rinse is if I'm going from a different color. Like right now, I have a little bit of yellow in it, but since I'm going to be mixing some bright green, I'm just going to leave that in there. I'm going to pour my yellow first. I'll rinse my tablespoon, and then I'm going to put dye in the rest, and then I'm going to blend it. I'm telling you all this ahead of time because when I put my mask on, you can't hear me talk. I am wearing one of these masks here, so I'll just go ahead and start mixing, and you guys can watch what I do here. But like I say, for the dye, since 32, I'm going with 2 heaping tablespoons into each one of these. Okay, that's all my dye put in. Now I'm going to use the hand mixer, and like I say, it only takes about 30 seconds or so to finish blending these dyes up. So that's why I really like using these mixers. Mask back on. Okay, so that's it for the blending, and now I'm going to pour. And what I have here is a funnel. I've got one funnel that I use for soda ash, and I have one that I use for dye. Once again, I don't mix them over, and I also don't reuse these for any type of food product. This here is strictly my dye pouring funnel, and the other funnel is strictly my soda ash funnel. So that's an important thing to note there. And then I have a little screened filter here, and that just kind of catches any of the chunks that might not have completely dissolved. And I just go along and I fill all of these up, and this just makes quick work of it. If I can mix up 5 dyes at one time, then it's really time-saving activity, especially with this blender. And then once I get these all filled up, I'll fill them the rest of the way with my water, and we'll be good to go on tie-dye. So like I say, you can start out simple with just small bottles and shaking, or you can step up, and the hand mixers are about 30 bucks on Amazon, and like I say, they usually last me 2 or 3 years before I use another one or need to buy another one. The other thing you want to do when you're using them or get done using them is to do a little bit of cleaning on them, especially the soda ash one. Otherwise that'll make the blade bind up if you haven't washed it good. So I always rinse my soda ash one. My dye one usually gets rinsed just because I'm done mixing dye, I rinse it off. So there is all of my dye. Easy peasy. Thank you for watching. Please like and share my videos and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with more videos. Thank you.